rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. You know, it's a Friday. That's right. It's Friday here in the Americas. I know over in the land down under, I think it's Saturday today. So, anyway, hi back. Anyway, or actually it should be, is it good day? Good day? I don't know if it's day or night over there. Anyway, I get confused. I would have to plug it into the internet of all things to know what's going on. Anyway, yeah, a little late. I know. It's Friday, man. I'm sorry. I got caught up trying to figure out exactly which way I was going to go with tonight's topic. I wasn't certain of what I was going to do, and occasionally whenever that happens, I end up being late because I'm sitting there stuck between a rock and a hard place trying to figure out, what am I going to say? Where am I going to go? Well, what things am I going to what things am I going to be able to talk about, discuss, that kind of stuff. And so yeah, it tends to get me going. But hey, I know it's Friday, and I'm going to give a lot of people, the bye. Hopefully they'll give me the bye. I mean, well, wait a minute. No, that was Bam's phone. I'm sorry. Bam's phone is drunk again, saying goodbye instead of hi or hey, whatever. Bam is our resident margarita maker, just so you know. Apparently even Chevy's iPad is drinking too. Anyway. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. I've done this long enough. All right, let's head on over to the green room. Who is in the green room? Well, definitely not Karen is in the green room for tonight's Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mind, please stand. Remove your hat if you're wearing one, like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with Definitely Not Karen as he recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, and I thank you, Definitely Not Karen, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email. Send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. I have 25, still stuck at 25. I need somebody to get me to 26. I want 26 of these by the end of 2026. So, somebody somewhere who has not done a pledge yet, please do so. And all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever, and attach it to the email. And I'll get you into the rotation. Don't forget, you can, if you do it on your phone, you can use the share option. That's the S-H-A-R-E option, and do the same thing. Send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. You get to join an elite club, man, 25 others. And we got some cute ones in there. But 25 others have done it, man, let me tell you. Popular, come on, join in. All right, let's head on over to tonight's headline sponsor. I'm wearing one of their Active shirts. This is one of their Active shirts. Normally I like the men's cotton polos, but this one is the Active shirt. You can kind of guess what the temperature is like here in the studio. It's kind of warm. I know for those who are in Florida and other places where, 90 degrees plus is normal, this is nothing at 72 or 73 or 75. Yeah, I know. I've already got the boo wine from from the matriarch of the Whiskey Warrior P1s. Anyway, yeah. All right, let's head on over to the headline sponsor, which is theflagshirt.com. That's theflagshirt, all one word, .com. You can go and check out their summer bestsellers, their patriotic accessories, their golf gear. This is one of their kind of golf style shirts, performance shirts. They got patriotic outfits. Hey, men's, women's, children's, made in the USA. They even have the America 250 collection still. And if you order $75 or more of their product, they will provide you with free shipping. Now, don't forget, if you don't know what to get that patriotic person that you care for, you can also get gift cards and send gift cards as well. So take some time. Head on over to theflagshirt.com, theflagshirt.com, and go and get yourself patriotized. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, something happened over in Europe. Now, I'll explain a lot more. Actually, this news alert might explain a lot about it. But you'll be able to understand what happened over there, and I'll dig through it. But just keep in mind, take a look at this this video here, and well, see if it makes you recall anything in particular. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a listen here.
Wild video here. Chaos at the border of Spain's North African enclave in Morocco. This is a city called Ceuta. You're watching as thousands of migrants break through the fence and completely overwhelm the border police. Their video showing huge groups of people, mostly young military-age guys, cramming into inflatable tubes or arriving on shore in other ways, some of them wading in the water as they break through the gates to get to the other side. Sandra, this is reminiscent of kind of what we saw during the open border during the Biden administration through 2021, 2024, kind of similar to what we saw in Del Rio back in 2021. The socialist agenda, their platform literally says they want to abolish borders, abolish immigration enforcement, have complete freedom of movement. This is what it looks like in another country if they get what they want. Notice there is no resistance from the government whatsoever. These people are coming in without any obstruction. And if people don't know, Spain has a very left-wing government. Earlier this year, they did a big amnesty program for over 1 million illegal immigrants living in the country. They had 1.3 million illegal immigrants apply for that amnesty program between April and June. So that's what we call a pull factor, Sandra. They're looking for something like that. They know if they can just get their foot in the country, maybe someday that left-wing government will do another amnesty program. And you were just reading some of the wires. The locals want an emergency declaration. It sounds like
the ministry's saying no, they will not deploy military to the border.
Apparently they don't think this is an I mean, look at this. This is a total free-for-all.
It does feel like we are looking at a few years ago when you were reporting at the border here in the United States. This is happening right now. This story is breaking right now. And you're not just talking about hundreds, thousands of migrants are pouring over the borders as we speak.
Yeah, and again, I mean, just look here. Do you see any women or children? I mean, most people would call these folks so-called asylum seekers. These are all young guys just flooding into the country and overwhelming what, if any, border there is. It looks like there's just kind of a small barbed wire fence or something like that. But you can see the Spanish government was caught completely off guard here, and you have thousands of these men. I mean, it literally looks like, you often hear the word invasion, but it literally looks like one here. Look at that. I mean, you see the border fence there. They're all just going around it. And again,
the head of Spain's civil guard is calling this absolute chaos. In a brand new interview, he said, quote, "It's not possible to give precise numbers, but there are thousands of migrants crossing right now." He added that the border has totally collapsed, quote unquote.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. And for folks who don't know where this is a small Spanish city, autonomous in North Africa. It's actually in Morocco, but it does have Spanish autonomy. It's called Ceuta. So this isn't on the mainland of.
Okay, well, enough of that. They continue. I mean, it's just, I've got footage, a lot of footage of this. And just to be clear, as he pointed out, this is a small city in North Africa. So to give you an idea, here's the map. Okay. Ceuta is on the border of Morocco, as is another city, which is just above my head here. This one much farther over. They're like little cities that were kind of carved out of Morocco. Why they're still part of Spain, I have no idea. I mean, you would have to ask the Spanish, the Spaniards. But there's apparently little pieces that have been left over for years, decades, hundreds of years. All right. So what happened, essentially, just so you get the idea, I mean, Spain, this bottom map that's right here up by my head, right here, you can see Spain is across the Strait of Gibraltar. Okay. Spain is just across that. And you have essentially this small city, Ceuta. That's how it's pronounced, Ceuta, even though it's spelled C-E-U-T-A. Ceuta is this little, offshoot of Morocco that's just across the strait from Spain. Now, this isn't Spain directly. Now, keep in mind, the Strait of Gibraltar is only about, 12 miles apart, 12, 15 miles. But what happened here was the Spanish Supreme Court, apparently here recently, went ahead and stated that anybody who comes in from the water is essentially not considered to have jumped the border. And so it's not illegal to come in from the water. Now, that's why you saw all of those. And by the way, this is Morocco. Morocco is a Muslim country. Okay. They are Muslim men aged, 19, 18, 19, whatever, to 24, generally speaking, is who was coming into this country. And the reason why you saw them mostly going around in the ocean or in the Mediterranean is because of that Spanish Supreme Court decision basically saying, hey, if they come in from the water, it doesn't matter how far away they are. Doesn't matter if they come in, 5 feet away or 100 feet away or 50 miles away. Makes no difference. They can just come in at any time and, there you go. Now, Melilla, the other city, they didn't get overrun. In fact, they actually held their border. My understanding is some tried to go into Melilla or Melilla, I don't know how it's pronounced. Anyway, the other city that was over there. And they were able to hold their border. They were able to hold their border. And, yeah. So, I mean, I got more footage here, folks. I mean, this is more footage, and people died. People died over this. I mean, here's an actual border wall, fence, whatever you want to call it, that got, is it going to play? Come on. Play for me. There we go. This is another one that the police are just overwhelmed. They're trying to stop them, but they can't. And there's people climbing over walls. I mean, and these are all, they're all Muslim men who are not necessarily looking to assimilate. Well, there's some women. Hey, how do you like that? There's a little bit of women, some women, but there's more. They're climbing over the fence. Yeah. They're climbing over the fence, going through the barbed wire. They're topping the fence. They're crossing over the barbed wire and getting in. They're coming in. All because of this Spain's attempt to, have amnesty is essentially what is happening here. Spain is attempting to have amnesty. Now, by the way, just so you know, they tried to deploy water cannons. Didn't quite work, obviously. And we've had death tolls now from people mostly drowning in the Mediterranean. But death tolls have been, rising. It started off, they estimated, around 20. And now they're estimating, or before they were estimating 34. And then I think I just saw another one that it was in the realm of like the 40s, almost 50 people dying. And they're talking about the potential. There was somewhere at initial counts of like 50,000 had made it in to Ceuta. Now, oh yeah, there's also some of the ones were killed. Most of them were by the swim into Ceuta. The others were killed as they were trampled, as people broke down the gates and overwhelmed the Spanish border officials. And again, keep in mind, this guy, their leftist Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, or Pedro, not Pedro, but Pedro Sanchez. They're like, hey, we're going to pave the way for, 1 million illegal immigrants or migrants to obtain legal status. That was not too long ago. And now he's claiming that he's going to end the chaos. I still don't think they have it under control as of yet today. Now, he said that the migrant flood deserves our full reproach, our condemnation at the strongest possible level of rejection. Condemnation and consideration is deplorable, but let's just be honest. This is what they want. This is exactly what they want. I mean, the leftists in this country, this is what they want. And Joe Biden almost got that. Almost. Anyway, the military was reportedly mobilized to respond to them. Migrants reportedly chanted, "Bye-bye, Morocco, hello, Spain," as they crossed the border. Some actually were calling out, "Allahu Akbar." Well, we all know here in America, when you hear that, nothing good can come of it. Yeah. Anyway. There were businesses over there that were closed. They just closed up shop because these migrants were coming in and they just started, ransacking the place. There were even private homes that were broken into. These migrants were coming into people's actual homes. Now, the locals, the local government requested that Spain call out and call this whole thing an emergency. And Spain said, nope, I'm not going to do it. They didn't bother to do that. One local says, shops shut because if you open a business, it gets overrun. We're scared. The streets are packed. There are no measures in place. It's every man for himself. And they are not giving us any help. Another one described the event as the apocalypse. Now, there was a migrant in particular who told the New York Times that he entered Ceuta looking for a job. He's like, I don't know why they let us through. Maybe they had some political reason. They opened the border and let everybody by. Another person told Reuters that he just simply pushed past the police. So, you know, the thing about it is, though, is that these people are not fleeing like a war. They're not refugees. In reality, the vast majority of them were actually coming over into Ceuta looking for jobs, because apparently the job market in Morocco isn't all that great. Well, here's part of the problem. The job market in Ceuta and actually in all of Spain, even though they go and they say, hey, yeah, we're going to go and we're going to let you all in here. Well, Spain has regulations just like America does in terms of getting a job. So if you're coming in illegally without proper paperwork, not having a visa, or not having a real purpose for being here, yeah, your opportunities are going to be limited. Well, legally anyway. Legally limited. Now, in response to all of this, another couple of places, like Germany and Italy, they actually responded, and they're like, yeah, we're going to block and defend our borders and the safety of our citizens. In fact, the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, she said that the Schengen area is suspended. The Schengen, or Schengen? I don't know how it's S-C-H-E, looks like E-N-G-E-N, so Schengen area. So the Schengen area is a zone that allows people to travel between 29 different European countries without any border checks. So Italy and Germany both said, hey, you know what? Nope, you guys can't come over here. And they went ahead and said, yep, we're stopping all this. We're stopping all this. In fact, Georgia, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Meloni. The Italian Prime Minister Meloni said the images coming from Ceuta are striking and demonstrate once again that uncontrolled illegal immigration poses a concrete threat to the security of Europe's borders. On illegal immigration, we will not yield an inch, defending the borders, stopping human traffickers, and ensuring effective repatriations will continue to be the line of this government. And the European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, called the situation in Ceuta unacceptable. She said, we cannot allow anyone to come to our union without abiding by our rules. Dangerous crossings must stop immediately. Smuggling networks must be dismantled. And returns must be swift as our rules allow. Now, the White House, of course, and Donald Trump, they blast the Spanish government for all of this. They blast the Spanish government. And, yeah, the White House, of course, bashed the left-wing government, said, look, see, this is what happens when you do this. The White House Principal Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly told Fox News in a statement, President Trump has long warned Europe what would happen if they continue to implement far-left globalist policies, including enabling mass migration. Spain and other countries who have adopted this destructive philosophy should immediately reverse course or risk their own demise. Ceuta's president, now remember, Ceuta is a city, but it is a self-governing city from Spain. However, their president formally requested a national emergency declaration as they all came across. Now, these are all like military-age men. Here's another image. This isn't anybody, this isn't like women and children and families and that kind of stuff. No, these are military young men coming in. That's what they are. They're coming in. This is more of an invasion. I mean, yes, it's not like an armed invasion, but it's more of an invasion. So, yeah. Anyway. I mean, this is what they are looking for. This is what the leftists want. They want this. You think I'm lying? Let me see if I can find it here. Where's that other? Nope, it's not on that one. Hold on. Where did I see that? Oh, yeah. You think I'm lying? No, I'm not lying. Here's a platform. This is the Democrat Socialists of America person, co-chair.
So we're going to put up on the screen a few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
True.
Okay. Replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them.
Yep.
Abolish ICE.
Absolutely.
Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
As a long-term plan, yep.
I could keep that going because there's more, but you heard it. This is what they want. They want to destroy the border wall and just let anybody come in at any time for any reason. This is not an assimilation situation here. See, they're looking to essentially destroy America from within. That's what they're after. That's what they're after. Now, according to the Associated Press, apparently many of the migrants who came across initially have actually left voluntarily after crossing into Ceuta. Now, they're claiming tens of thousands. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but apparently the AP is saying here there are like tens of thousands of migrants who crossed into Spain's tiny Ceuta territory, returned voluntarily to Morocco a day after the influx triggered chaos in the North African city and reignited the immigration debate in Europe and beyond. At least 57 migrants died on the journey. Ceuta's president put the number of migrants at 60,000, which, by the way, is the equivalent to 70% of the territory's existing population. According to the Spanish government, most of them soon went back. The government said after the sudden arrival of so many people sparked a humanitarian crisis. Some of the migrants swam several miles through the sea and faced down authorities who tried to turn them back with water cannons, tear gas, and warning shots. Those who died included some who drowned or were killed in the stampede to cross a breakwater barrier near a border checkpoint. Spain has apparently deployed its armed forces and additional police to restore order in Ceuta. So, and it's been a Spanish possession. It's been in Spanish possession since 1580. Interesting. On the Moroccan side of the border, security forces clashed with migrants. Italy and France pledged to tighten their controls on people arriving from Spain. So, yeah. There you go. So maybe they went back. Maybe. I don't know. But, yeah. Sanchez, of course, the Prime Minister of Spain, he tries blaming human smugglers for the crisis, saying that they deceived so many young people and ultimately lead many of them to their deaths, whether in the ocean or in the city. That's a bunch of crap. It's not because of that, trust me. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a part of it, but not all of it. Anyway. So, yeah. I mean, here, this is crazy. I mean, this is just crazy. Hundreds of thousands, or, well, thousands of migrants, I should say. So, yeah. And look what they leave behind. Here's some of the belongings that were left behind. Garbage is now garbage in this sea. It's just floating. There you go. That's it. It's just floating. I mean, environmental disasters, as well as a humanitarian crisis, apparently. Anyway. Well, they want that to go here, and our immigration laws are starting to take effect now that we actually have a president and administration that will actually enforce them. In fact, not too long ago, there was a SCOTUS ruling that temporary protective status is solely in the hands of the president in terms of deciding when to put it on and when to take it off. Well, a couple of rogue judges, they were Massachusetts-based judges by the name of Patty Saris and Brian Murphy. They issued an administrative pause against the Trump administration for attempting to ending, or I should say, they attempted to stop the government from ending temporary protected status for foreign nationals from South Sudan and Ethiopia. And a First Circuit Court of Appeals 3-judge panel just released a order that basically overturned them. So, yeah. They were trying, the two, Saris and Murphy, were trying to, apparently seen as an effort to effectively sidestep the U.S. Supreme Court, which sided with the administration on the TPS issue. So Samuel Alito, writing for the 6-3 decision, noted that the High Court held that the TPS statute bars federal courts from reviewing non-constitutional claims against the government's TPS decisions, and further shot down a constitutional claim by one of the respondents. This, of course, was the one that was dealing with the TPS for the Haitians. Yeah. So, yeah. The First Circuit panel said that its decision to reverse the postponement orders is in light of the Mullen v. Doe ruling. So there you go. So that's at least a positive. And the Department of Justice has revised or renewed. I'm not exactly sure what word to necessarily use here. But a court, a special terrorist court, to start getting rid of people who essentially have terrorist ties. Now, the left, of course, is freaking out a little bit about this because of the fact that the court was created by Congress back in 1996, and it was signed into law by then Democrat President Bill Clinton. Now, granted, it's never been used before. This is the first time, apparently. So proceedings through the Alien Terrorist Removal Court don't actually permit any suspects to review the classified information against them. They aren't allowed to legally challenge how the evidence was collected either. Now, you know, it's kind of interesting now that I think about it, because I didn't really think about this at first. But now that I think about it, it's kind of interesting. The left seems to have this idea that the Constitution covers everybody. That essentially, again, the minute you touch our magic soil, you are automatically covered by the exact same freedoms, by the exact same rules that any citizen would have. And, you know, it's kind of interesting how this here, well, they're not allowed, that means this is an alien, somebody who is not a U.S. citizen who came here, okay? In this particular case, this is an Afghan woman who is alleged to have ties to terrorists. But it's kind of interesting that now that a law was written and basically stated, hey, you know what? You can't even challenge how the evidence was collected, which that seems to me like that's a citizen's right when they show up in court. But yet, you know, everybody is supposed to have the same exact rights as American citizens do. Right. Anyway, the DOJ is pushing this woman's case through this special court. This woman is from, or is in Fort Worth, Texas. She's going to appear Monday morning before the Alien Terrorist Removal Court in Washington, D.C., where the DOJ is going to present its case that she should be removed immediately from the U.S. Its purpose, this court's purpose, is to deport non-citizens who can't be removed through the traditional legal process because information about their cases is classified for national security reasons. Now, this woman's never been publicly charged with any crimes of terrorism. As far as we know, there's no known criminal history on her, according to the DOJ filings. Last year, though, her son and her son-in-law pleaded guilty in a federal court in Oklahoma to purchasing 2 rifles and 500 rounds of ammunition from an undercover FBI agent. Now, here's another indication, by the way. If you're an alien even an alien with a visa. There are some serious strict rules about purchasing firearms and owning firearms here in the United States. Oh, wait a minute. I seem to recall there's this thing known as the Second Amendment that applies to citizens. Yeah, the right to keep and bear arms that can't be infringed. Well, obviously it can be infringed for aliens, even immigrants that come here and are here on a legal visa. Anyway, the two men were allegedly plotting to target the 2024 election in support of the Islamic State. The DOJ alleges that the woman supported the men's conspiracy, pledged loyalty to ISIS, and indoctrinated her children with ISIS ideology. The allegations were based on information the DOJ says is a reliable source. So, applications for removal must be certified by the Attorney General and are reviewed by the court ex parte and in camera. That means the defendant in the court proceeding is not a party to the hearing either. There's another right, supposedly, that doesn't exist for an illegal alien, in this case, terrorist supporter. You know, a lot of people, just to shift gears here, a lot of people are sitting here kind of surprised at the all of a sudden leftist shift of the party, meaning the Democrat Party. And a individual in the Federalist, his name is Joshua, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. Hang on. Monington, Monington, Monington. Joshua Monington wrote a piece talking about how this guy actually created today's Marxist Democrat Party. Now, in this article, Joshua, talks about a few different items. He claims, which of course, anybody who knows Barack Obama or knows about Barack Obama, no, he was not a moderate. He never was. And the thing about it and it's very interesting to listen to today's party. Today's Democrats like Schumer and Jeffries, that they're all trying to stave off the DSA Marxists or the far left. They're sitting there talking about all of this stuff, and they need more moderations like Joe Biden and Barack Obama. No. There are also a host of commentators keep trying to say that Barack Obama was the beacon of the political center, which is a bunch of crap. So, yeah. Lunacy aside, he says, Obama's sanity in the smile, wave, and kiss the babies campaign trial moment doesn't erase the tidal wave of evidence that he, more than anyone else, is the patriarch and pioneer of today's Democrat Party, and that Zohran Mamdani, as an example, his rising Islamo-communism. He's like arguing, the writer here says, arguing that Obama is a moderate is similar to saying that he's the most humble man on the face of the earth because he didn't blurt out me like Michelle did, or Michael did in an interview. But keep in mind, Obamacare, which he rammed through, establishing a single-payer universal health care system, that's a far leftist idea that Mamdani and company dream about. He did force insurance companies to cover individuals with pre-existing conditions and destroy health care as Americans had known it. Again, against the Constitution. Health insurance premiums doubled since that passage. Taxpayers are stuck subsidizing the socialistic monstrosity that Obama promised wouldn't add a dime to the national debt. Another hallmark of them, the meaning of the DSAs, is Ma'am Danny is hobnobbing with an imam who called for jihad and was an alleged to be a co-conspirator in the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center. Many of these people are doing the exact same thing. They're hanging out with all these people. Now, Obama, he had a relationship with Bill Ayers, the father of the Weather Underground, which the FBI designated as a domestic terrorist group. Ayers himself has said that he does not regret setting the bombs. He does not consider what he did to be terrorism, and he believes that his conduct wasn't extreme enough in fighting fascism, according to the outlet Influence Watch. Obama took a chummy photo with, was endorsed by Louis Farrakhan, the 20-year member of the Church of Jeremiah Wright. And these are all things, and by the way, Jeremiah Wright gave a sermon blaming the U.S. for the 9/11 attacks, just like all of the DSA candidates seem to be doing right now. Yeah. Yeah. There's a bunch of evidence that demonstrates that Obama was the forerunner of the DSA socialists when it came to weaponizing race for political gain. In 2009, he quickly weighed in on the mistaken arrest of Harvard professor Henry Louis Gates Jr., saying that the Cambridge police acted stupidly and implying that racial profiling occurred, despite not seeing all the facts. 3 years later, he inserted himself in Trayvon Martin's case, saying that if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon. Michael Brown case, also in Ferguson, Obama called the ensuing riots understandable. Race weaponization and anti-Americanism aside, Obama blazed a trail for the far left of Marxist radicalism on a host of additional issues. Government bailouts, the trans agenda, abortion, taxing the rich, same-sex marriage, lawfare, and mass immigration. These are all things that the left, the DSA left, is after. And his radicalism, Obama's radicalism, by the way, is wildly popular on the left now and when he left office. Even today, you're looking at 1/3 of the Democrat Party identifies as being socialist. Yeah. Yep. So, Now, let me just point something out to you, too. It's not just Obama, although Obama could be blamed for bringing this Marxist, socialist stuff to our shores. But even some mainstream Democrats, like Pencil Neck Shifty Schiff, well, he has something to say about it. Let's take a listen.
We've got a new poll out here at CNN tonight, which finds about just over a third, actually, of Democrats now identify as Democratic socialists. 59% of them, right? So 60% are younger than the age of 45. Are you on board with this? Do you see this as, accept this, that this is where your party's going? And are you good with it?
Look, I think we're a big tent party. I think we should be a big tent party, and I would rather be in that big tent in the majority than be a smaller party that is stuck forever in the minority.
That's the answer right there. If you think that the party, the Democrat Party, the moderates of the Democrat Party give a real rip about whether or not the Islamofascists, the DSA, any of these other people who are there, if you honestly believe that they care, they don't. They have absolutely every single desire to ensure that they are the party in power. Schiff just said it. We don't care. We're gonna expand our tent until we are the party in power. He said, quote, I would rather be in that big tent in the majority than be the smaller party that is stuck forever in the minority. Except, let me just point something out. There's this thing known as the Constitution. And the Democrats and the leftists and the DSA and everything else are trying to tell you that we are a democracy. We are not. We are a constitutional republic. And the difference between a republic and a pure democracy boils down to this. The rights of the individual override the majority. See, in a pure democracy, which the founding fathers actually hated, in a pure democracy, you could have 50.0000000 whatever one, okay, that would drive the entire country in a certain direction. If they wanted to take some piece of property that you had, they could take a piece of property. If they wanted your bike, they'd take your bike. If they wanted your house, they'd take your house. That's what Benjamin Franklin was talking about in terms of pure democracy. It's like two wolves and a sheep fighting over what's for dinner. What's for dinner? The sheep or the lamb. I can't remember what Benjamin Franklin was saying about it. But the fact of the matter is, the Constitution exists to protect the individual and to restrain the majority, to restrain the government from being able to do things to it. See, this is the thing, is that these people, they want to destroy the Constitution. They want to destroy America as it stands today because of the fact that these documents, these rules, these laws are protecting the individual from the masses. And all these Democrats care about: open borders, abolishing ICE, abolishing prisons, abolishing the Senate, the presidency, Supreme Court, defunding the Pentagon, making mass amnesty for all of the illegals that are still here. All of this is to destroy America completely. So consider this. If you're a leftist, well, actually, let me rephrase that. Consider this. If you're a moderate Democrat who still believes in the country, who still believes in the good old red, white, and blue, the USA, the capitalism is, the best system of economic policy that has ever existed in the entire world to date. If you believe in, the white picket fence and everything else, folks, you got to quit voting for these idiots. You got to quit voting for the Democrats. Because as you saw with like Mikey Sherrill or Mikey Sherrill, however frickin' first name is pronounced, and some of these others who claim to be moderates, even Joe Biden and Obama who claim to be moderates. Yeah. They're not. None of them are. They all want it. See, Shifty Shift, he doesn't really care. The only thing Shifty Shift cares about is power. That's all he cares about. Chuck Schumer, same way. All they care about is power. Nancy Pelosi, all they care about is power. And they're willing to partner up with anybody who is willing to do that. Well, there was a lot of rumors running around about whether or not the only seemingly sane Democrat in the Democrat Party, John Fetterman, the senator, was going to jump ship. That he potentially could have switched over to the Republican Party. And unfortunately, he's kind of toyed, dropped the little line in the water and sort of wanted to see what was going to bite. Here recently, he's basically said, no, I'm not. I'm a Democrat. I'm for way too much stuff in the Democrat Party, like LGBTQ stuff, same-sex marriage, a bunch of other things. But he keeps saying that he's not one of these people. Well, Chuck Schumer apparently got a little nervous about all of this because on Wednesday, he pretty much almost begged Fetterman to stay. He's like, hey, I think you're a very good member of Congress. He's downplayed the criticism of his colleague to the left. He goes, people in our caucus very much like him and respect him. We're a big tent party. There's that phrase. We're a big tent party. We can have lots of different views in that party. Really? I seem to recall, that's the thing. I really don't understand this. They keep talking about we can have lots of different views. Okay. What if somebody were to say, hey, I support LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign stuff, but I don't support men and women's sports. They should have their own sports teams. Do you honestly think that you would be accepted and welcomed in there? Isn't it accepted and welcomed for that? Anyway, I don't know. But Chuck Schumer is a little worried. Privately, some Democrats fear that Fetterman could jump ship and become a Republican, complicating their task of flipping the net total seats. Okay. The net total seats in order to regain control of the Senate in November. Some Republicans, though, have said, you know what? Hey, come on. Come on over. We would welcome you. But like I said, Fetterman has already kind of said, well, even though I have I've mentioned that, he goes, I wouldn't fit in the GOP because I'm strongly pro-choice, pro-weed, pro-LGBT, pro-SNAP, pro-labor, and even pro-ribeye over bioslop, whatever that means. Somebody's got to explain that. Alrighty, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to check out my new streaming platform, pilled.net, Pilled.net. Go and check them out. Sign up for an account over there. We will see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Saturday, therefore we are 1 hour later, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.